So, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. I'm still on day off. I'm still on day off. And this got so serious that I had to get back into my YouTube uniform because I felt that warranted the getting dressed back into the appropriate attire to deal with this complete and utter bollocks. So, those of you who have been involved in the Idaho 4 case, I don't mean involved as in Moscow PD is going to be checking out, I mean keeping an eye on what's going on, will be well aware of certain news outlets during this entire sort of circus, should I say, and there are certain ones in particular, and the most recent was Dateline. So Dateline have come out and they've, with all their really high production value, they've basically rehashed old stuff and just give it a little bit of a polish, made it look a bit nicer and made it a little bit more impactful. And people have fell for it hook, line and sinker. They haven't realised that a lot of it is just over-embellished conjecture. And it's already been hashed to death. Everybody's just trying to get their piece of the pie. Now, they did come out and say a couple of things with reference to Bryan Kohberger and him not apparently having IDs that belong to anybody in the house. Now, you could argue, how do you know that? How do you truly know that? Same as the situation with the sister who apparently suspected Bryan Kohberger. You do have to ask the question, who actually told you that? Did the sister tell you that directly? Did a friend of the sister's tell you that directly? Anyway, I digress. Because what I'm really sort of fucking fuming with is yet again News Nation. Now, I am calling for the fact that News Nation, based on the fact that they have a channel their size, they have an influence that they do, they put out a video 6 hours ago that flat out in their title said that Bryan Kohberger had broken into a female's into her apartment. We touched on this, remember? We spoke about it. It was something that what the story actually was that a female had her apartment broken into. Someone had gone into it and she felt they were moving stuff around, and she actually went to Bryan in order to help her. You see where I'm going with this, don't you? So she goes to Bryan for help and assistance, and he apparently sets up some surveillance for her so she can keep an eye on her property. So in the event that she leaves, she knows that there's... News Nation twists that motherfucker. So in their title, they turn around and say, Bryan Kohberger breaks into this. I'll put the link in description of this video so you can see. And I'm not giving you it because it's noteworthy or any it's because this is the problem with this case. This is the problem with this case because the first guest that then comes onto that video, who is ex-CIA or whatever, the first thing this person says is, well, let's say that we don't have anybody telling us this. We don't have any witnesses or nobody's actually saying this is what happened. But if it did. Now imagine you've got 3 or 4 different types of people who come onto YouTube to ingest content. That is the people who'll look at the title and they won't go no further. They'll look at the title because they're looking for something that will confirm what they already think. So they'll look at it and think, right, so Bryan Kohberger, yeah, he did it. They'll go through the comments then and see the multitude of comments that are, we've found something more about him. I knew he did this. You know, this guy's a psychopath, and so on and so forth. And they don't need to watch the video because the comment section has already smashed the fucking nail home. Then you've got the people who will read the title, and then they'll click on the video, but then they'll fast forward it because they know the introduction and all that, so they'll skip past that. So they miss the part where it says, well, this isn't actually true. This is just what we're saying might have happened, and then go on to talk about it. And with that bit omitted, the rest of it looks like a shit show. And all along, all of these little things are just mounting up on the stuff that just forms an army of people looking to convict, to destroy a human being. Could Kohberger be guilty? Yes, he could. But there has been nothing, absolutely nothing whatsoever, that has proven guilt that's been shown. Nothing whatsoever. Every single element of this case has been nothing but conjecture. In a state, in a country, in a place where knives and guns are in abundance, we hear that there's a knife sheath that's potentially got Brian Kohberger's DNA on it. We don't hear that it is indeed belonging to the murder weapon itself, only that there is a knife sheath with trace DNA. Now, we can't rule out that Brian Kohberger had been frequenting this house because of parties. And on the side note of that, we know that he is currently trying to get hold of Bethany Funk to provide exculpatory evidence to assist him. And I would imagine, at the very least, that could be her saying that Brian Kohberger would frequent this place. They were fully aware who he was. He came to it. But who knows? I could be wrong. But what I'm trying to get at, the whole purpose of this, is yet again we have this rehashed information coming out that's just been spat and polished, have that, and people are falling for it. Like it's new news, like it's new confirmation that Brian Kohberger is the guy that did this crime. And I think many people have forgotten their way, have seriously forgotten their way. It doesn't take a lot to make monsters of normal people. And as much as you can turn around and call Brian Kohberger a monster for doing this crime when you do not know whether he did it or not, and you are only going off of lies, and that's it. News Nation are lying. They are lying in their titles. They are lying in their reports. They are liars. That title of that video, what they put out today, was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. But the amount of people who fell for it was equally as disgusting. It's wrong. And the people who believe that kind of shit and utilise that to convict a man of a crime that he may or may not have committed, because at this stage, it don't matter to you. You're just as much of a monster as what he is. At this stage. Because who knows? He might be innocent. How would you feel then? I'll catch you all in the next one.